Audio is, I would define it as a new type of audio company that provides a total solution. The products that we make hardware products like Bluetooth speakers, earbuds, and earphones for the hardware side of our business that gives us something that we're branding to people. And on the second side is we're releasing what we call digital accessories, which allows you to come into our website and download things that will enhance the listening experience, EQ files, enhancements like that. So it's a total solution. Well, it's kind of a long story. I was explaining earlier, I'm originally from Southern California. My wife and I moved up here in 1996. I started working at a company here in town that was audio related, and based on my experiences, when I was in the service, I worked in anti-submarine warfare. I learned a lot about acoustics and sonar and sound. And I've applied that to what I think is happening in the audio industry to create home audio. As a part of the digital accessories that we're creating, we're looking for artist participation in that with us. We think there's a way to create a market for people who would like to get tuning filters from their favorite artists to enhance their listening. An example I'll play for you is this. An artist like Lady Gaga has about 50 million people who follow her on Twitter. And if I could find a way to sit down with Lady Gaga and say, create an EQ filter for me that I can post on my website so your fans can come here and get that filter, you send out a tweet saying, hi, I got this new filter. How many of those 50 million people do you think will want that? Because it's basically, I will liken it to this. The concept for tuning filters came to me in the moments when I was listening to some live Eric Clapton. And I thought to myself, how much do you think people would value Eric Clapton coming to your house and adjusting the dials on your stereo and saying, you know, when I listen to Layla, that's how it sounds to me. I think there's something to that people would find something, a connection between them and the artist that's kind of gotten broken by the digital revolution. The artists are so far removed now, the only really contact they have with the fans directly is through live performances. And this is the same kind of environment that artists is saying, hey, you got a great headset there, let me tweak it a little bit for you. This is my taste, you know. It also allows the user to come in and say, hey, I'm going to listen to opera, I want to tune my headset so that I get the good sounds of opera, but tomorrow when I'm listening to hip-hop, I want to get that bass beat, I can tune my headset for that. So I think that's, I'm not sure if I answered the question you asked me, but I'm trying to show that that's a differentiator between what we're trying to do and what other people are doing. We have a website. It's www.om-audio.com that you can come to our website and buy our hardware. And in 2016, you'll be able to download digital accessories from that site. Well, besides what I've talked about in digital accessories, and a lot of headphone manufacturers, they use what I would consider, or what the industry would call, a biased type tuning. And it's because of the design or the configuration of their headsets. In most cases, headsets are single driver devices, meaning there's one speaker on either side of the headset. The headset we developed, called In-Ear Peace, has two drivers per side. And that configuration is not unique to us, but it allows us to create a type of tuning on the headset that's completely unbiased. So we can create an almost flatline tuning response from the low end to the high end of the curve. Whereas if you look at some of the other headsets on the market, you will see they're heavily tuned towards the low end. And that's because they're using a single driver, and the driver has areas of nonlinearity. You have to understand, a speaker is a simple electric motor that's just moving back and forth. And it's not completely linear in the full range of that movement. And when it gets into those nonlinear areas, it distorts. So to prevent that from happening in a set of conventional headphones, they use a device that's called a choke, which is basically a plate behind that driver that's got little holes in it that allows the air pressure to build up behind the driver so the driver can't reach those areas of non-linearity. The battery must be going low. Okay. Our headset doesn't have to have that. What we have instead is a crossover built in. So we have a primary driver, which is a regular headphone driver. But instead of asking it to go from 20 to 20 kHz, we only ask it to go from 20 to 200 or 20 to 300 Hz, which is the primary operating range for that driver. So we get really good low end from that headset. The secondary device we have is called a balanced armature, which is the same instrument that's used in hearing aids. So it's tuned for voicing or mid-range frequencies, and we allow that to take the top end. So now we can play with the crossover and look at the response curve until we get a very flat curve, okay? And we call that a canvas, because on that canvas now I can overlay these EQ curves I talked about earlier, and there is no bias built into the headset, so you're really hearing what it is being sent to the headset as far as the artist's recording. We're not influencing it. And when we do EQ tunings, it allows us to influence it without having to preset that bias. So that makes the headset very, you can't listen to it on a newspaper, but if you heard it, you would be able to say, wow, take your set of whatever and listen to them, and then take my headset and listen to it. And every time I've done that, people have went, wow, this thing sounds tremendous. You know?